Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour Podcast.
Yes, hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 296. Thank you for joining us tonight. So close to episode 300. Oh, I don't care.
Damn it, Jim.
No special plans, no special events, nothing. We got nothing.
Or do we?
Do we?
Maybe we do.
Maybe you do.
Maybe.
I ain't got shit.
Maybe I'm going to dress you up like the deformed thing in 300 and make you wear the diaper. And you're going to wear that for the whole episode.
Well, good thing this camera shoved right in my goddamn face now, so no one has to bear witness to that. Funny thing about my soft, shitty body, Brian. So, we recently spent most of the weekend together up at our buddy's hunting camp. Turned off the cell phones because we had no service. Got away from it all, brought the families. And at the end of the weekend, we were starting to, help each other put wood back in because it was only heated by wood-burning stoves. So we're helping our buddy Juan put the wood back in its place. And all of a sudden, I feel a tug in the chest. And I go, uh-oh. Now, far be it from me with my lifetime of good decisions to question anything, but this was also the second time in about 2 weeks that it happened, and I went, this probably isn't good. So I'm thinking, former smoker, drinks too much, eats badly, things add up. So I get my ass to the doctor today, and it turns out, Bri, if you could describe to the fine people out there, how does Jimmy walk?
Like a penguin, a perfect penguin. Your feet they cannot form parallel lines. They are always at minimum a 45-degree angle, but most of the time, I would actually say they're at 170 degrees. They arch in a way that is impressive.
Correct. If it was a guitar, it would be a flying V. It is perfect. And so it turns out that by walking like this for 38 years, it does a number on your body because it's technically bad posture. And I've been favoring my right side so much throughout all my years and probably with drumming and everything else that my rib muscles and my rib cage actually displaced a little bit from each other. So I'm sitting here thinking I've been having heart attacks for the past 2 weeks. And much like you talking about the hunchback with his deformed body, turns out you weren't that far off. It's like fucking Coxtradamus over here. It's ridiculous.
Could you say I've been warning you and trying to correct you and fix you for years now, Jim?
Don't be taking that credit. That has nothing to do with this.
I've mentioned it since college. I've tried to correct your feet and your posture for how long? And you wouldn't listen to Daddy. And look what happened.
So, yeah, that was my day. Hell of a doctor, though. So he just started doing some on-the-spot chiropractic. And, all of a sudden, 15 knots in my back went out at once. So, I'm a little sore. There's a lot of popping going on. There's a lot of bone popping. But it's all for the greater good. So... yeah, happy 38 years, everybody.
Yeah, Chambers, we did it. We had a good time. You had a nice little scrapey scrape going down on the sled.
Yep, only I would get road rash from a sled, so that's fun.
Yeah. It is a good time. It is good getting away. I definitely put back a lot of beers. I didn't realize how much of a hurting I put on that case of Yingling I brought up. I wasn't tracking, but I didn't realize how much I actually drank out of that. But I still had a couple left, so tonight I'm polishing these bad boys off. As I said when we were at camp, I really can't remember the last time. It would have been sometime with you, probably for this page, that I actually had a Yingling. So it had been a really long time. Always love this beer. It's a staple. I put this right next to Sam Adams as something that it's a shame it's not more widely distributed through the U.S. I know it's getting better, but in PA, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I was actually pounding a couple of those from you as well because I like a little mishmash of Sam Adams's and some Coors Lights and actually tonight's beer that I'm drinking. So not exactly the most micro in the world, but from good old Sierra Nevada, I am drinking their Powder Day IPA. It's double dry hopped. It is, where's the alcohol? Oh, 7.7% alcohol. So, yep, not much to really say about it, not much to read about it, but it I mean, it looks like an IPA. It's got a nice. It's almost more on the double side, looks wise, just because it's definitely lighter. It almost looks like it should have more citrus, but I mean, it's just a hoppy boy. But it's not. I don't know if my taste buds are just destroyed at this point, or if like straight up hops just doesn't kill me anymore, and it's probably both.
Yeah, I would say cigarettes don't help it either.
Oh, I only had like 5.
Only 5.
It's the only time of year I smoke.
But you have so many years of it under your belt. But Jim,
Nice
I've already
lacing on
tried
that
to.
glass.
I've tried to correct your posture. I've tried to correct your use of cigarettes. Just listen to me, and things will get better. Come on.
Why start now? Right. After today, I have a perfect bill of health. I can just keep doing what I'm doing. Indestructible.
Yeah, Sierra Nevada is weird because every time I have them, I go back to Celebration, which is like, their flagship IPA, which is like the thing that put them on the market. I'm never overly impressed. I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm like, they may be one of the more overrated, larger. They're not a microbrew. I don't even know what you call them. Like, they're maybe just a hair under macro. I don't know. But they're a very large brewery, and I kind of feel like they tend to be a little overrated. That's all. I'm not, not saying they're really bad. I think they get too much love.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this beer, but there's also like nothing great with it. It's like, it's an IPA. It's fine. 7.7%. It does the job. But, yes, I also have a quick shout out and apology to the video watchers of this for this delightful little mark on my face here, because my wife decided it was the perfect time right before recording to pop a pimple on my face. So I got a big old red boy right here. So this is just, I'm doing great. This is awesome.
It's all right, Chambers.
Now that I have my new computer set up and I can see it in crystal clear HD, it's wonderful.
But Chambers, I know you've already posted about it, but I want to give myself a little credit because I need to post it. Finally beat my first resolution game of the year.
Go on.
And it's finally Red Dead Redemption 2. I've been attacking that fucking game. And no spoilers because I don't even know. How fucking old is that game? What was that, 2018? Fuck, when did that come out?
Right, if only there was some 2018, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, it's not a spoiler, and I'm not going to say what the spoiler is, but this is a game where you get an ending, and then all of a sudden, there's an epilogue. And I'm like, when I got the ending, I was like, oh, that's weird. They're saying I'm only 80% through the story. I was like, oh, it just must mean like there must be multiple endings, and there are multiple endings, but I figured, maybe they make it up. No, there's an epilogue, and there's another 20 levels to do, basically, because each percent is basically a level. So I went, fuck! Like, I was so not expecting it. I will say it does help round out the story further. But goddamn did I hate that. I don't like epilogues. Stop with epilogues. Like,
Right, it's like an encore at a concert. You think you're done. You just had a great time. How about a little more?
No, you know what? The encore is like, maybe that's overused too. You know what? This is the overused podcast now. Like Sierra Nevada, it's overrated. Encores at shows, it's overrated because everyone knows they're happening. The fucking band knows it's happening. Stop putting your shit away like you're not coming right back out. We know what's happening. Come on. It's like going to a Marvel movie and everyone like, I wonder if there's going to be a after credit scene. You fucking know. Come on. Don't even make me sit through the first 30 seconds. Just give it to me.
It's like going to a Marvel movie and going, I wonder this is going to suck. You know it's going to, but it just happens.
After the end game, yeah, you're probably right.
But yeah, actually it's weird when you're at a concert and they don't do an encore and you're just like, hey, where's my encore? Where's my
you do
my
feel
fake
a
out?
little you feel a little robbed, but
it's balls, bro. I respect the bulls. I love the bulls. I love boobies pops.
Now Chambers, as my first resolution game's excellent, S tier. I know we'll do a video recapping all of our resolution games this year. But I went from a super excellent, way too long of a game, and you just finished a resolution game on your end, and I want to hear your take because I'm already pissed off a little bit by it that you played it twice. So
Right.
Let's hear.
It had to be done.
This.
It had to be played twice. Yes, Pikmin, the original. Played it through the Switch collection. So, in watching other videos, it definitely has some quality of life improvements from like the GameCube original. I liked it. I was shocked by actually how much I wound up liking it. And my first playthrough, I was racking my head. I was like, what the fuck do I do? Until it's one of those ones where luckily the levels are small enough that you can just go around and eventually you dumb luck your way into something. But I was just being a dumbass in my first playthrough. I wound up with 29 out of the 30 pieces, and we talked about it last episode. So I think there's like 4 endings. There's like a catastrophically bad ending if you get like no pieces. There's just a regular bad ending if you get less than 25 pieces. If you get 25 of the 30 pieces, you get the good ending. Or you get like the neutral ending. And then if you get all the pieces, you get the good ending. So I wound up with 29 pieces in my first playthrough. And I was like, no, fuck this. I have to go back, and there's no reason I can't go back and beat it again and get all 30 pieces. So I went back and I did it, and I finally counted it after that fact. So, But it's a weird game. It is a wholly unique game. I'm pretty sure it's like the last original IP that Miyamoto directly developed. I don't know if he did Splatoon, but yeah, I know he was all about Pikmin during the early GameCube days. Thinking that was gonna be like the next big thing for Nintendo. But for a game that's 20 some years old, and for as janky as it is, it's definitely got that Nintendo charm. So I got sucked into it way more than I thought I would. It's not a perfect game by any means, but it's damn fun.
How long did it take to beat?
So every level is 13 minutes and 50 seconds. Or no, 13 and a half minutes. Every level's 13 and a half minutes. So it's probably about like just shy of 7 hours if you take all 30 days, which I took all 30 days in the first run because I was stupid, like I said. And then the second time through, I took like 22 days. So probably like 5-ish hours, I guess.
So pretty short game.
Yeah, it's a shorty.
Interesting. So what's that, your third game done?
Third, yeah. And I haven't had that much time to game, but I'll probably get back into Terminator Resistance now that I finally finished this off. Like, I stayed up late last night playing Pikmin because I was like, I just got to get this done. And then, like, I had like 1 or 2 more pieces left to get. And then our wives like to get up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym. So once I woke up from that, I was like, well, I'm not falling back asleep. So I just went downstairs and started playing Pikmin again before the old work alarm went off. So finished her off, Bri. Eyes on the prize.
That a girl. No, yeah. I think my next one, because I did such a fucking long game, I'm going to the opposite end of the spectrum, and I looked up all the how long to beats, and the shortest one on my list is Resident Evil Survivor, that gun game on the PS1. So I'm really hoping it's backwards compatible with the PS3, because otherwise I don't have a way to play it, because almost all PS1 games are, but I just hope that's not a random one that all of a sudden isn't. Because if it's not, then I basically have to emulate it, and I don't want to do that.
You don't need the Joy-Con for that. Or not Joy-Con, the Gun-Con or any gun for that, right? It's the controller?
Yep.
Oh, you should be fine then.
That's what I'm hoping. So now I just got to dust off the old PS3 and try it out. But yeah, that'll be my next go-to. And obviously, I'm going to also dip into, as we promised, the X-Men games. So...
Yep, I will
that
have
comes
to be
to us because that is our latest Patreon request. And Chambers, what questions we got this week?
Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. First up from Burn Retinas. Do-it-yourself home repair can be a pain, but there are the small or large projects around the house that you may enjoy doing. I recently replaced our sump pump for about 4 minutes. I felt like I could govern a tiny town. P.S. Installing a new toilet eats balls.
Yes, it does.
I hate all work at home. I do little things I think I can do. I hate it all. It always takes longer than it probably should take me. I curse a lot the entire time. My wife gets mad at me for getting so mad. It's good time, sad by all. It's wonderful.
I've done too many things at home. From the simple shit to much larger projects. It comes down to now it's not even an economy of time thing. It's like, if I fuck this up, how much more could it potentially cost me is really where it comes down to.
Yep.
I've replaced plenty of plumbing, but I'm also at a point now where I've done toilets, I've done sinks, I've done this, I've done that. I don't want to fuck with it because one time I actually did break a pipe and I had to shut off my main just to make sure, and I was like, you know what? I will always just call a plumber when there's actual pipe repair required. Electrical always, I've done way too much electrical, and there's always that moment when I'm shutting off the circuit and I'm still testing a live wire, and I'm always like a little like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Those shocks are not fun.
I don't fuck with electricity, just to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I know my fat ass would cook.
Damn it, Jim. Yeah, you know what, though? I do like things. I don't mind fixing appliances where, like, I've replaced the heating coil on my dryer numerous times. And it's one of those things that if you have a home insurance thing or you call a repairman, they're going to charge you out the ass, and it's literally a $20 part. It's like, once you know how to do it, I take satisfaction in knowing I'm saving myself. And it's not even that long of a job, like, once you really know how to do it. So there's been a lot of times I've replaced, like, water pumps on washers. I've replaced parts in my dishwasher. Like, that kind of stuff I like. Because I'm like, I know I'm saving a ton of money with this. And worst case, if I break it, somebody's going to come out and fix it for that original price. Those are kind of my go-to preferred things.
Yeah, even I know how to replace the heating coil on a dryer. So if Jimmy can do it, anyone can goddamn do it. But yeah, I mean, through random stuff in Google, like, I've learned how to, like, replace flow valves in toilets, or, you know, how to, you know, reseal, like, a sink drain and shit like that. But it's all stuff I don't like to do. The thing I hate, I can't tell you a task I like doing, but the one I hate doing the most, and I've done it so many times now that I've gotten pretty decent at it, is recaulking a tub. Oh, do I hate recaulking a goddamn tub. It is such...
But you love caulk.
I mean, I'm all about it. Just that big tube right in my mouth, squirting all the goo. It's perfect.
Damn it, Jim. Damn it.
White, creamy.
Too
delicious,
far. Too far.
Slightly toxic.
Damn it.
Dad doesn't want to talk to me after. It's weird. But yeah, it's like a thing. I can do it, and like I'm very meticulous with it. Like I'll tape off like all the areas around it where I'm like recaulking, so I can have nice clean lines with everything once I rip that shit off. So I have it down to its science, but it's like an all day goddamn thing, and you have to do it every couple years, or else your toilet looks like, or your tub looks like shit. So yeah, joys of home ownership.
Yeah, yep. Never fun, but there is. But to your point, there is a sense of accomplishment, so I get it. And if you can do it, I say if it's small enough, you should always try first. And YouTube is your best friend because you can pretty much find anything on there to repair. It doesn't matter if it's a specific make, model of an appliance. Like, I guarantee you somebody has a how-to repair thing, and you can go step by step with them. So try it out.
Yep. Or don't. Hey, try. Now, you know what? You have to try it out because part of growing up is colossally fucking up a job and learning from it.
Yes. Yes. I 1000% agree with that.
Yep. Next up from Snarkast. Overrated or underrated? The original Star Fox, and why? I say underrated as it's nothing more than a glorified tech demo with a terrible frame rate. Also, please note I'm not referring to Star Fox 64, which is an amazing game what the original should have been.
I assume he's saying it's overrated, not underrated.
You know, he's saying the original Star Fox is overrated, yeah.
Yeah, you said underrated. You know, it's funny when I hear Star Fox, and this is even outside of you and your love of 64, I feel like I hear no one talk about the original. I feel like anytime someone even casually references Star Fox, they might even just be referencing or talking about 64. I feel like the first one gets so little attention that I don't know if I can call it overrated. I do think the game is sluggish as shit, and I don't think it's that good of a game, and I know what they were trying to do. I don't think it's that great of a game. I I think maybe if I heard more talk about it, like on top whatever Super NES games list, it may be in a top 30, but I never see that like listed in like top 10s or top even 15s. So it's tough for me to say it's overrated just because I don't hear enough about it. But if I did hear a lot of people talking about it, I would 1,000,000% be like, yeah, it's overrated as fuck. Because the game does not hold up well at all.
You know what? I'm actually going to disagree because I played it for the first time really during the level 50 days. So, what, 2-3 years ago? And I went in expecting complete slop and an unplayable mess. And I found myself having a way better time than I was expecting. Now, yeah, it is still sluggish and it's not perfect, but there's just something about it. Like, the feel is still kind of right for what I'm considering it to be. So, like, I never felt like the controls were truly in my way of how I was playing. It's one that I'm, like, probably not ever going to go back to. But I played it and I went, all right, I see what they were doing here. It's all right. But I don't even, you know what, I still can't know if I can say if it's underrated, though, because, like, nowadays people don't talk about it a ton. But that's just, like, general gaming YouTube at this point. Retro is not big. But when Retro and there was 1,000 channels, like, a lot of people talked about it and how, like, revolutionary was and how great it was and all that stuff without maybe saying for the time like they probably should have. So if I had to say overrated, underrated, I guess maybe I would have to say it's slightly overrated, but I do think it's a lot better than a lot of people would probably expect.
Your explanation doesn't match your answer, but I think I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, right, you got a little foam jizz on your mustache.
Damn it. Don't call
See,
it
Brian's so used to that, you know, he doesn't even realize it's there anymore. But, yeah, so long story short, slightly overrated, but I still say anyone out there who hasn't played it, give it a shot. You might be surprised.
Nah, don't do it.
Well, fuck me then. Next up from Todd Howard Sucks. Been changing a lot of diapers recently. What is your worst poop-related story from dealing with your kids?
Oh, I just had this talk with my PT. Logan gave me so many blowouts that I swore he saved them for me. And I think the worst one has to be he was in one of those goddamn, like, standstill jumper things, and he started shitting, and all of a sudden it's down his legs and he started jumping in it, and it would happen so quickly that, like, I was like running over to get him, and I remember I was like, oh my god, stop, and he thought it was funny, so he jumped harder, which made him shit more. And I just had a pure moment of like, I'm throwing everything out. And I called Monica. I was like, babe, just so you know, I'm throwing out the outfit. I'm probably throwing out the jumper. She's like, don't throw it out. You can wash it. I said, nope. I'm not trying to even deal with this cleanup. I was like, I'm putting them in the bath. I said, I'm going to do everything, but I'm not even going to try and salvage any of this. Pretty sure I did throw out the clothes and some of the stuff, but like, I was just like mortified. I was like, stop doing it. And it's not funny. So yeah, that was definitely my worst one. What about you, Chambers?
So, we just talked about how growing up is having colossal fuck-ups. Growing up is realizing as a parent that you can just throw the clothes away. Because my wife would always be like, well, because there was a while during the preschool days when I would come home from work first. So I'd have to deal with all the poopy outfits. And she would go, well, just wash it off. But you can't just wash it. You got to get the poop off there. You got to soak it in water and stuff like that first before you throw it in a washing machine. It's a whole process. Eventually you just go, no, I'm done with this. I'm an adult. I'm in my 30s. I can afford another goddamn onesie. And then things just start getting thrown out. Yeah. But back to your story. I had plenty of blowouts, but always the one poop story that I remember the most is, my kid was maybe a year and a half, or maybe not even a year yet, getting ready for daycare and putting the old diaper up. And she used to get constipated a lot as a kid, as an infant. So she started doing the pushing. And I went, oh, good. She's finally going. So as it's coming out, it comes out as the big chunk, but you see the ridges in there. And you go, uh-oh, there is no structural integrity here. And all of a sudden, it just broke up into like 1,000 deer pellets that just went everywhere. And you realize that there's such precious little time as it's going everywhere, so you don't even care about the dirtiness or anything. I just start barehanding, picking up all these pellets, getting it off my couch and the floor immediately, as quick as humanly possible, just going, no shit on here. I have to baby wipe and Lysol less stuff. So, yeah, there's always the thing where you're just barehanding clumps of shit left and right.
Yeah, I mean, part of having a kid is you need, like, to just recognize shit is not going to be clean in your house. I don't care how meticulous you are, what you do. Like, you need to just stop worrying about that shit because, well, in this case, legit shit. But, like, I've seen those things, those videos where people talking about it. It's like one day, all those things about, like, handprints on glass, toys left around, that shit will go away, and you will be surprised that you will miss that. Like, having a spotless house will mean nothing when you're like, oh, yeah, now they're not kids anymore. So try to enjoy it and realize if poop is your number one issue right now, wait till they start getting personalities and you got to deal with other things. Like, the poop problem will be like, that was such a simpler time. So it's weird to say enjoy it, but try to enjoy it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I don't miss diapers, but yeah, the whole experience at that age, it's something you're not going to get back.
It's
unless
simpler.
Unless you shit out 20 kids, but
good luck, bud.
Yep, yeah, good fucking luck. And last up from JD Mains, what video game made you laugh the most? Huh.
That's a really good question. I would think something from, like, my teen years. Like, I'd want to say a GTA, like, because that was, like, the formative teen years, and, like, the humor in that might have been funny. Not that it's, like, the funniest game, but, like, just like, oh, shit, look what you can do. Because I don't know if there's many games where I'm like, this is legit funny.
Yeah, like maybe one of the South Parks, like Stick of Truth, or
that. Okay, you know what? Ooh, that might be. Yeah, because I can remember certain moments in that game where I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, it really was like playing, like, while they were still writing really good. I mean, not saying they don't write good, but I don't watch them anymore. But the writing was on point with that game. So maybe, you know what? You answered it for me. South Park, Stick of Truth.
Yeah, and that's just for the sake of having something else to say. I used to play a shitload of those Flash games off Newgrounds back in the early 2000s, and a lot of them would always be based around, like, you know, the meme culture before meme culture was a goddamn thing. But yeah, just like internet culture and, like, you know, in-jokes and shit like that back in the day. So, like, if you were in with that, like, extra nerdy kind of crowd with that kind of stuff, there is some really funny stuff with, like, Stick Death and other things. I think Homestar Runner had a game or two, so yeah, that was like the good old formative years. So I always got a lot of laughs out of those. Then there were the dating sims with the boobies.
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
Fuck.
I'm talking
God
my wiener,
damn.
not you, Bri. Yeah.
We
But
do
that
need-
wraps
we
up.
do
The,
need-
what's
No,
that,
I was
Bri?
going to say, we do need a good... I know that stupid game that you and I never played and probably never will, where the gun talks to you. People thought that might have had some funny writing in it.
Oh, High on Life or whatever.
Yeah. I actually do think that should be a thing, like more effort as games become more cinematic or whatever. Like, maybe get legit joke writers to partake in it. Maybe. I don't know.
You tell me. I mean, yeah, I think I heard High on Life was like okay. So that might be
I feel like
the
it
best.
came and went.
Yeah, no, it really did. Much like me. But yeah, I can't think of any other like games that are like really being touted as funny or stuff like that lately.
That's what you know what, that's going to be our next hunt, Jim. We're going to look up what some of the funniest games are and see if they make us laugh.
All right, so we're gonna have to play like 5 Laser Shoot Larry games and
Yep.
see what else is out there.
Exactly.
All right, cool. But yes, that wraps up the Patreon questions for this week. So once again, thank you to everyone out there for all the support. Really do appreciate it. Make sure to head on over to Patreon, check out the tiers for video game review requests, bonus episodes, extra podcast segments, all that good stuff. And if you're in the mood to learn something for once, you stupid fucks, head on over to Skillshare and use our code DBPG30 to get 30% off a year of classes. So go on over and learn something, why don't you?
Check it out. Help support us. And for everyone who is supporting us already, we always say it, but we mean it. Get the questions in. We appreciate your support. We don't care if you want to bank a few extra ones. And make sure to check out all of our bonus content. And once again, thank you guys for the continued support. Cheers to all that.
Cheers, everybody.
All right, so Chambers. It's an interesting time. But we haven't brought back Comment of the Week in a while, and it's one of the things I actually missed. Us kind of highlighting a comment that made us laugh, made us think, made us go, what the fuck? There's always a reason for it. This week, I don't know what the reason is, so I'm going to have you explain it to me, and I can't wait to hear it.
All right, so this week's one doesn't come from a comment to us on one of our videos. It comes to us as a comment from someone else's video. So I'll go around friends' pages or pages I like or even random videos I hit. And it's to show support for different things. It might be to get our name out there, get us a little more familiar, build some bridges and relationships. So there's a channel called Neon Bitch, which talks about a lot of arcade-centric video games and like restoration projects, emulation projects for arcades. And she had a video on Primal Rage. So on that, I said, you can't call yourself a 90s kid if you weren't hyped for Primal Rage. So cool to see the love going into getting the arcade right, blah, 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 blah. And it got a lot of people mad at me by just being like, you know what, I was a 90s kid and I didn't know about Primal Rage. I was a 90s kid and I didn't like Primal Rage, blah, 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 blah. So, Brian, this week's comment of the week was the most recent reply that I got on this. I hate these kind of gatekeeping bullshit statements. I was an 80s baby and 90s kid, and unfortunately, I didn't have the luxury of being in the know about everything as my family moved a lot, and your kind of statement is the same type of shit kids would use to bully other kids. I love the 90s, I love a lot of games, but gatekeeping is just bullying.
I think if there is true gatekeeping, yes, gatekeeping is bullying, and when it's true gatekeeping. I think a harmless comment from an idiot online.
Hey!
If you take it to heart that, like, you're not a true 90s kid because you said that, like, fuck, man, you got bigger problems than assuming someone's gatekeeping you. Like, I see that shit all the time. Like, you're not a true 80s kid, 90s kid if you didn't do X, Y, or Z. Now, I will defend that your point of everyone, if you were even a little bit into gaming, if you had gaming magazines, if you saw commercials, if you went to arcades, you fucking knew about Primal Rage. Whether you got to play it or not, okay, maybe you didn't have an arcade that had it. Maybe you never got a home console version of it. Whatever the case, you can't say you didn't know. Like, it was that big of a game. Now, if you threw out some shit like Leisure Suit Larry, I would actually expect a lot of people to not know that game. But Primal Rage was during that prime of you go from fucking Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. Primal Rage is right in there with those like very well-known fighters of the 90s. So I just think that's a really dumb thing to think people are gatekeeping about. I don't know. Like, it's a throwaway comment. Now, if they're... Like I said, when you have legit douchebags who will say things like you're not a true gamer if you play Call of Duty or sports games, I think that's fucking dumb. And I think there are whole sects of people that believe that. But, like, yeah, that's such a throwaway comment. And I love how easy it is to anger people. Because it really is that fucking easy.
I meant well. Damn it!
You know what you did. You're basically the next Grums. You know what you did.
I really am. Well, right. It's obviously the wokies cause this, but no, seriously, it's just like I read that and my first thought was just, who hurt you? Like, my God, like something a comment like this set you off that hard? And like to your point, like for what Rise of the Robots was for Europe in the mid-90s, early mid-90s, that's what Primal Rage was here. A not great fighter that was more style over substance, that had a huge media blitz and was on literally every game console. And like, if you bought at least one new game for like a 3-year span, there is probably a good chance that there would be a Primal Rage ad at the back of the instruction manual. Like, you just couldn't escape the goddamn thing. So,
Yeah. I don't even think it's that good of a game.
it's not. It kind of sucks.
Yeah. It's just, you can't deny the hype for it was real. So, yeah. Because it also, not only did it hit on that perfect, like, time of fighting games, but, like, coming off Jurassic Park and shit, dinosaurs, all that shit, they were as hot as they've ever been. Like, that was their golden age of, like, oh, shit, dinosaurs are cool. Yeah, put them in a fighting game. How could you lose? Well, you can, but still.
Dinosaurs were always cool.
Damn it, Jim. You probably one of those assholes who like the Stegosaurus the best. Everyone knows it's a Velociraptor or T-Rex, and you're probably like, but I like the Stegosaurus.
What's wrong with the Stegosaurus? It's got the cool armor plating on its back, got spikes on the tail. Fuck you and your stegi.
Exactly.
That's your stegism, you stegist.
Can't even fly. You can't even give me a pterodactyl. You're going to fucking go Stegosaurus? Bullshit, bottom feeder.
Bottom feeder my ass.
You may Triceratops any day. Ram that motherfucker.
Well, I got front horns. Ooh, I got tail horns. Wham, wham. Same stupid fucking animal. Fuck out of here.
No, I want to see you doing that more often, but with more obscure games. Though, like, man, you weren't a '90s kid if you didn't like fucking insert obscure Jim reference game that you probably like too much.
I guess I should go harder in the comments too. Like, if you didn't like Granada in the '90s, kill yourself and just see how that goes.
Jim, by the way, I do love how there's been a transference of. I was always that one where someone, if they would comment, I would go too deep, like, who hurt you? Or like, what's wrong with you? And you're like, man, you're really going hard on them. And now your mentality is started to shift to that. You're like, what's wrong with you? Who did you wrong?
Brian Jaime, broken down, beaten, internet poison son of a bitch. All right.
You've been walking wrong for 30 years. Now, life isn't what it used to be, Jim.
My ribs go left and my rib bone muscles go right. It like just... things happen, Bri. Your life gets turned upside down one day. You don't even realize it. But
I do like that, though. I want you. That's not like I said. I love the comment of the month or comment of the week. I think I want to start pulling. I think we should each pull our favorite comments like that. I do like that for comparison.
Yeah, I gotta start being more flaming or not flaming, raving. As if I could be any more. As if I could be any more flaming at this point. But no, I need to get more inflammatory, and we need more haters, Bri, because the more haters will bring the better comments. Not that we don't love the comments we get, but they're very civil. We have a very civil fan base, which obviously, it's a what's the thing of riches? I can't think of phrases right now.
I just want someone to make a comment about Jim being flaming, and maybe that'll be my comment of the week.
That's your homework, people. There we go. Challenge is put out there.
Oh. Well, Jim, speaking of flaming, you would not do good as the GameStop CEO. He might really have a problem with you because, as we know, GameStop has been on a decline for quite a while. And
life.
They've already sold off over 200 stores in 2019. They've been trying to rebrand themselves. They started bringing back retro shit. They're on a whirlwind, and unfortunately, Jim and I have said it many times, I don't actually want to see GameStop go away. That is the last bastion of game sales because I don't want to get my shit from Best Buy or Walmart if I need a physical copy of shit or Target. And mom and pop stores, at least for us, they're kind of few and far between. And
they overcharge.
Definitely. But, so GameStop announces a plan to sell off French and Canadian outlets. But why are they doing this, Jim? And what did their CEO have to say about this sale?
Right. Wokeness and DEI. That is what caused all of this to go down there. So, setting aside the unprofessional nature of Cohen's statement, which was requesting emails from individuals interested in buying GameStop Canada or Micromania France, Cohen added that high taxes, liberalism, socialism, progressivism, wokeness, and DEI included at no additional cost if you buy today. Wow. GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen just throwing that out there. So, yeah. It's like the article goes on to say it's like being at a market stall and the hawker goes, "Come and buy my apples, a free worm in every bite." Of course, the worms are entirely imagined, even if they aren't. You don't promote the fact, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. And then they go into basically, like, you know, the obvious reasons why GameStop's failing. Like, the stock's been falling like crazy. No one goes there. Terrible rep. Terrible PR. Bad practices. Less return for the customers to keep them coming back. Littering the shelves with bullshit and Funko and shirts that no one buys. And, yeah, if it, like we've said before, if it wasn't for that random memery of their stock in 2020, they probably wouldn't even be here today. But, Bri, when in doubt, blame the wokes.
Well, this is what I'm confused about. Is he saying that just specifically because it's Canada and France that, like, buy this and you can enjoy those things, like the high taxes, socialism, all that? Is he, like, that's the part I'm trying to, like, is he saying it about the GameStop stores themselves or just the countries? And he's saying, like...
I'm pretty sure these are commentaries on the countries.
The countries. So, yeah, it's a weird thing. We're in a weird time right now, Jim, where every blame will become political. Whether you're blaming the right for it or the left for it, a failure of yours is ultimately linked to those things. And it's an easy, yeah, go enjoy all this. But it is a terrible sales pitch to, like, say, hey, we actually are trying to offload this, but, like, I don't know. Like, do you think that's a drunk tweet or, like, a drunk, like, thing? Because that's what it reads to me. Like, somebody was like, you know what? Fuck these people. I'm just going to write whatever I think. And hit send, and he went, fuck. Like, I don't think it was well thought out.
And he's not even that good of a fucking racist or something. He didn't even bring up immigration. It's sitting right there for him. He could have just thrown that in. Like, God, does he know nothing about Canada? But, yeah, I mean, obviously he must have been fucking, you know, it's whenever you have, like, some kind of colossal failure and you're in that acceptance stage, but the, not full acceptance, so you sit there with a drink in your hand and you're just like, no, fuck this. So, yeah, he was a snarky little boy. I don't think that's going to help, though.
I mean, he could have probably just left it at high taxes, right? Like, I don't know if those countries have particularly high taxes, but, like, you could have just left it with, like, yeah, these countries suck because there's high taxes. Like, I don't know why liberalism, socialism, progressivism, wokeness, and DEI would have affected GameStops. I could see how high taxes, like, of all of them, maybe that's the legit one. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make sense, Jim.
And what DEI? Right. Have you ever gone? How often do you go into a GameStop and the person behind the clerk isn't just like a nerdy looking dude? Sometimes it's an unfortunate looking girl, but you know, it's fair. It's few and far between.
An unfortunate looking girl, Jim.
I'm just saying I can only go by my sample sizes, Brian.
Okay.
I can only give you my truth, Brian, as they like to say.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just questioning your choice of vocabulary. An unfortunate looking girl. What does an unfortunate looking girl look like, Jim?
Well, like an unfortunate looking guy, Brian, where you look at him and you go, that's a shame.
That's interesting.
I am one to talk, by the way, but
I don't know. I read this. If I was putting money down, he was drunk, he was high, he was something, and he was just letting off some steam. I think it's a really dumb thing. Good luck on the sale. I don't know what else to say. Like, that's a weird one. So,
and I mean, like, it's also like, I don't know what the gaming market in Canada looks like, but in France, I think you're going against the game, like just, you know, game GAME stores. And CEX, like, there's a lot of big franchises over in Europe for like retro game sales. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, so they have a lot of competition over there. Canada, I have no fucking clue, but yeah, their taxes are sky high. Like, you're probably getting taxed at least 50% of your income up there. So obviously you got to get a lot more socialism thrown your way with that money, but like this guy's saying too, I guess. But yeah, give and take. You know, it's whatever whatever you want out of your country, I guess. But
maybe he should hold on to Canada because they're gonna become a state soon. So
I know he's gonna be selling at the wrong time, Brian. He's supposed to.
He's doing the Jim method. He's selling at the wrong time.
He's selling high and buying low. What is he doing over here? He's like me with crypto. It's ridiculous.
So yeah, GameStop. I think it's. I don't want them to go away, but if I had to throw out a time, I'd be shocked if we see them beyond 6 years from now.
Yeah. Oh man, 6 years probably sounds generous, but they keep chugging along. Like there's been so many reports of like, oh, this is the end of GameStop. Oh, this is the end of GameStop, and it's never the end. So, I mean, they have a service. There's no other place kind of like them left, at least in the States.
Well, and that's my point. Is like honestly, I think the one thing that keeps them keeps them going is probably, I'd have to say, Nintendo, because their secondary market, which is what we loved. I know they're trying to bring it back, and the selections are dog shit compared to what they used to be. But more and more people, I think, are like you and me, where it's like, man, is there a purpose to buy physical for Xbox or PlayStation at this point? Like, if you can't just play the game straight up, like, why am I going out of my way to go get it when I can just sit at the convenience of my home and just, there you go. So, yeah, I would like to see those sales sometime. Like, what is the majority of their sales? Is it just Switch games? Is it older shit? Is it merchandise? Is it the toys? Like, I don't know. I'm curious what it is at this point.
Right. Speaking of sales and speaking of business models, there are some changes coming to a rather loved outlet out there. Good old Humble, known for their Humble bundles. So they have a new business model where, so this comes to us from a skeet over on Blue Sky from a guy called Dewin, where he sums it up by saying, when we sell you a game, we might not actually have keys available for it. If you wait a few weeks, we might send you an email saying that we have keys again. Better be fast. And if the process takes too long, we have no obligation to give you the keys you bought. So, yeah, so the official update to their terms of service as of December 24th says that in some cases, due to various reasons, a key may not be available to replenish, and in such cases, Humble Bundle may offer the same game on a different platform, quote-unquote alternate keys, if this is a possibility. In cases where alternate keys are not available to replenish, Humble Bundle is not obligated to provide them. Keys, including alternate keys for all games, whether bought in a bundle, Humble Choice subscription, or individually, must be redeemed within 3 years from the purchase date. Humble Bundle shall not be obligated to provide any keys, including alternate keys to games that are unredeemed, within aforementioned timeframe and thus become expired. Huh. All digital future.
There's a lot of verbal diarrhea there, but the thing I'm trying to really understand. So, Humble Bumble, I mean, they are so fucking cheap, and aren't they?
Bubble gum.
Damn it! Aren't they also sometimes, or a lot of times, free?
I don't know about free, but I know they're like dirt cheap.
They're like, I think they have like, you can download this game and here's our suggested donation sometimes.
Oh yeah,
like,
I think you're right.
And I think in some cases there are a lot of just like, it's free. Now there are ones that are definitely behind a paywall, but I think it's like, hey, we suggest you donate this much. And I could be 1,000,000% wrong. My question with their business model in general was like, I always assumed they only had a limited number of keys. Like, getting those deals was the big piece of this, right? Like, so I can see a thing where, like, the keys, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm kind of okay with the whole thing. You better redeem your shit within 3 years. 3 years is a fucking long time. If you don't redeem your shit in 3 years and you paid 50 cents for some shit, I don't feel bad for you. The whole alternate...
But what if there was no key to redeem?
Well, that's the bigger problem, right? And what if it's on a platform you don't have? See, I'm so behind the 8 ball on this one because I thought Humble Bumble was only PC shit. I didn't realize that. I guess maybe it's also physical shit.
No, I think it is basically all PC crap, and I think it's a lot of Steam keys and shit like that. Maybe good old games and crap too. But a lot of the comments are going into things where it's like people are listing their games that they never got a key for. One person named CrypticWorks says, the Reddit sub is full of people posting screenshots where the site let them buy bundles where most of the games were out of stock with zero warning at the checkout. So even going into their initial buys, they had no idea that there wasn't a key for them. So that's some good old fuckery right there.
I need to look something. Like, this is bugging me because I feel like once I got something from home, and I had no issue with it. But there's book bundles, game bundles.
I was actually going to look out for like the next like Sony Vegas bundle for the new computer, upgrade the old editing software and crap like that. So I was kind of like being like, oh, it might be time to actually hit up on Humble, but maybe not.
Okay, so here's the deal. So like I clicked on Capcom Arcade Classics and Fighters Pack game bundle. It's Street Fighter V 30th edition, Capcom Arcade Stadium 2, a shit ton of games, almost every Street Fighter. Over on payment, it says it's a $207 value. Pay what you want. Pay extra to give more to publishers. So there is a minimum of $20 for this bundle. And then you can opt to pay $25, $30, $35, $40, $45. You get 70 items with this. And it's only available, it says redeem on Steam or play on Windows. So this is like an example where I said, like, I thought most of this shit is digital. So I don't understand the concept of you would need it on a different platform or an alternate key. That, like, if it's PC, there is no other platform. So I'm very, very confused about this. And I don't know what they mean by alternate keys.
So maybe if it isn't like a Steam key, maybe it's an Epic Game Store key or a GOG key or something like that, maybe. That's all I can think of. Unless they sell digital stuff to PlayStation or Microsoft Store, that I don't know. Again, like, I've had a shitty laptop that can't game for years, so I am not the first-hand experience on this. All I know is I can only seize what I can seize, Brian. When I seize, I don't like it. Now, I
hate this idea. Absolutely. If it's true, if there's keys not available, if you pay for something, keys not available, I just want to know, like, will they refund you if the key's not available? Now, obviously, based on what they're saying on December 21st, they said in cases where they're not available, replenish, they're not obligated to provide them. But that doesn't mean they're not going to refund you. To me, that's different.
Yeah, they would definitely have to see if Humble made any statement.
Yeah, see if they...
Let's see here. Humble Bumble refunds on expired keys are as follows. For bundles, they maintain 60-day refund policy if you haven't been able to reveal a key for an item in your purchase. For store purchases, they offer a 60-day refund policy if the keys for a particular product are exhausted and you have been unable to reveal the key. For Humble Choice, they maintain the maximum 30-day refund policy with no keys revealed. If you try to claim a choice key that is currently exhausted, you'll see an error. They can refund the purchase of already revealed keys and even deactivate an already activated key. Huh? So it looks like it looks like you get 60 days to put in for a refund, but then so it's almost like a gamble at that point. Then, like, do you wait a couple years and hope that you get a key for your super cheap game that you put in for, or do you just go like, do you have to keep track of it? And I hate that thing where it's like it's on the customer to keep track of shit to put in a refund in time, because like I've been cornholed by that before from like eBay, where like I didn't put in for a refund or like a fraudulent sale within the first 30 days because I fucking forgot about it, and I went, oh yeah, I never got this thing that I bought. And then I look, and it's like, it's too late to file a claim. It's too late to file a refund and shit like that, just because it's out of sight, out of mind. So, if they're selling you a product knowing that they don't have it available to you right away, and then you only have such a limited time, yeah, I think that's pretty shitty.
Could we say this is a trend with a lot of video game companies, Jim? Like our favorite one to hate on?
Right. Is it our favorite to hate on, or is it the easiest to hate on?
Well, it's easy to hate on something that is so hateable.
Touche. Right. Let's talk about limited run games. And they are in, once again, another one of their snafus. A sticky wicket, if you will, Brian. Because as of February 25th, they made a post where it says, "Good afternoon. We recently were made aware of reports circulating speaking to potential issues when using select NES games which limited run games have previously retailed on our website. The reports make mention of 2 titles, Rugrats Adventures in Gameslands and Pio Pal." I guess that's how you say it. Upon learning about this issue from our community, we immediately began investigating and can confirm that due to an issue with voltage regulation, there is a small chance that prolonged use of these titles could result in damage to either the cartridge or the console hardware. So then they do what they always do and blame someone else by saying, "We have identified that these were not manufactured by a regular partner who we have worked with across 30 plus titles and who we trust implicitly thanks to their impeccable manufacturing track record. The manufacturer who produced Rugrats and Pio Pal have only worked on a very small handful of titles for limited run games, and we're going to go through our back catalog with the supplier and testing for possible issues. While we conduct further testing, our immediate pledge is to rectify the potential issue with Rugrats and Pio Pal to ensure that this will not happen again." And then they start saying, blah, 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 "We're committed to high quality, no longer available to purchase, fulfilling back orders. Starting immediately, we will not be sending out any unfulfilled orders for any of these. Instead, we are remanufacturing these titles ourselves via our trusted manufacturing partner. Those who pre-ordered the collector's edition will be contacted in advance and will be offered the chance of receiving their order with the NES cart removed, which will then allow for follow upon remanufacture, or should they wish to maintain the manufacturer's seal, we can instead wait until the cartridge is remanufactured and included in the collector's edition before shipping, and this will result in a delay. So those who do not want to wait for either title to be remanufactured will be welcome to a full refund, and we ask that customers contact customer service immediately should they wish for a refund to be processed. Those who have already pre-ordered either title will be sent a newly manufactured version of their title automatically. There is no need to contact customer service. For those who have already pre-ordered and received their cartridge, we do not recommend continuing using their game. However, there is no need to return the game to us. We will automatically be sending out a revised version to each customer as soon as possible. And we will update you. We're very sorry for any inconvenience, and we will not be distributing any original cartridge sourced by this manufacturer."
So,
word salad by our good buddies at Limited Run Games.
This is one of the first, I'd say, kind of good moves they did. The question remains, why did you have a manufacturer that you used for majority of your choices that's been tried and true and switch this other one? Could they have been trying to save $1 and went with a cheaper thing and now potentially fucked up people's systems? Maybe. Maybe I'm just speculating.
Maybe go fuck yourself.
Wouldn't shock me with limited run.
Now, I guess to be fair, like they get a lot of orders, so maybe they went to a secondary manufacturer to try and update the orders quicker because obviously a big complaint about them is how long it takes to get your shit. So, maybe they threw it out there to get a secondary person who can make NES carts and went, all right, this will be a good way to hold this off. I'm giving benefit of the doubt where it probably isn't deserved, but I would probably say that's most likely the case. But then again, according to their former co-owner, Josh is a cheap fuck who will try to save $1 anywhere he can. We've seen it before with Amazon quality, USB sticks. We've seen it with CDRs being printed for games. So, right, we're men of history over here. We're history buffs, men of science even. And, there's hypothesis and there's experimentation and then there's results. Right, the results are that through all their experimentation of being cheap fucks, the results are not good. And this might be another one of them. So a buddy of ours, Rob Steiner, Quick Paul, the master of ice cold beer, he had shown off his picture and had reached out to the developer of the game, a guy named Thomas Quinan at Spoony Bartoma on Twitter, who had to respond with, "I know it's popular to pile on limited run right now, but they've been an amazing partner on every project I've worked on with them. On the plus side of all this, we now have the opportunity to send out fixed carts with a new build of the game with the bugs fixed. Josh and Limited Run have also been personally supportive of me during my recent cancer surgery and while I've been recovering. and I've got a little bit more behind-the-scenes knowledge of this current situation that I can't and won't get into. I agree that it sucks, and I'm absolutely not going to blame or badmouth Limited Run over this situation. I really do appreciate the overall kind words that I've heard about Rugrats itself as a game and our development team, though. So, I mean, I guess credit where it's due. It's nice of them to be very supportive at that point.
He's very supportive. I think, probably seems like one of the few that have been supportive of Limited Run.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are, for as many developers who've had good experiences with them, you can almost guarantee that some have had very bad experiences with them too. There's no way it's just a clean slate, especially for a company with this kind of track record. So, I mean, if they were good to this guy, especially during the cancer scare, good on them.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure.
Can't bash them.
And that's the thing.
That,
I don't think they're all bad. I personally am never going to support them again, but because I've had bad experience with them, don't like a lot of their practices. Here's a question. I think they're approaching it, at least on the surface, the right way. Should they be held liable if they fucked up someone's NES? Should someone whose NES gets fucked up by this game be able to claim that? And do you think they should be held responsible to replace?
I mean,
and I know it's a tough thing because, like, how do you truly prove? But still.
Yeah, like, how do you prove it? And really, how do you replace an NES at this point? Like, it's a 40-some-year-old console. Like, they're not made anymore. So it's not like you're going to be replacing it in kind with a brand new system or anything like that. And then what is it? You're going to be handing out people used consoles that you buy for cheap that are going to have their own problems? So, yeah, it's a bitch. Or do you start buying up, like, cheap Retrons and throwing them out to people? And then the customers start bitching that instead of their classic NES as its original hardware, they have a fucking repro system. It's a tough one. But, I don't know. Maybe doing a little more due diligence with your companies, too, and doing a little more testing. Yeah. Maybe reach out to the plethora of absolute tech geeks on Twitter and Reddit out there who probably would have done the meticulous testing out there that would have been required of it to not be in this situation, too.
Yeah, so do you think it's purely a QC error? Like, because I don't know. The other thing that's very obscure about is how long does it take? Is it like a 10-hour process, an 8-hour process? And then that begs the question, like, what should a QC on this thing be? Did they even run it on original NES hardware? Or did they just run, did they test it at all on NES hardware? Like, or did they just, we know this manufacturer, we've heard they've done good work, we're fine.
Yeah, because, I mean, after the developer play tests and does the QC on the ROM itself, like, you're just flashing a ROM onto a cartridge. So you would think, if they can make a cartridge, they can make it the right way. So that I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know the steps that it would take to get to that result, but it's also not on me to know these things. I am not the seller of this product.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to completely hate on Limited Run for this one. I still think they're at fault, and I think they could have done better, but
they're owning up to it. They're owning up to it, and they're trying to make it right, so I can't bash them too hard either. It's just like, they're not saying, well, fuck you then, or, it's such a minute chance that you don't have to worry about it. They're taking it on the chin, so good on them for this one.
How do you feel, though? We've talked about Humble Bumble. We've talked about Limited Run. A lot of these digital companies are getting in trouble. But there's a different type of trouble out there, Chambers. And it's one I feel like we've touched on before about some of these companies potentially not giving credit where credit's due when they're doing these repros or re-releasing games. And Retrobit is now in a little bit of hot water. So how did they manage to fuck up this time?
Well, Bri, much like wearing fatigues to a strip club, we have a case of stolen valor going on here. And, so Retrobit is a pretty big name in the retro scene, republishing old games and stuff like that. And they are, specializes in re-releasing mostly Japan-exclusive 8-bit and 16-bit games to modern consoles. And they are accused of using existing fan translations in their ports without credit. So the 4 games in question are Shockman Zero, Assault Zoot Valken, Gley Lancer, and Majoyo, King of Demons. Ooh. So these claims were first made by translator RoccoW on their blog, who cited identical dialogue in several of their games, as well as custom fonts created by fan translators. The most damning piece of evidence is Glaylancer, where the fan translator Mijet added their own name to the Japanese version of the game credits, which you can find in RetroBit's version, clearly indicating that someone else's work was used. As RoccoW notes in the blog post, RetroBit stated in a public Q&A that it did not utilize any existing script or work for these re-releases. So after our discussion internally, we as RetroBit concluded that the final work submitted contained, to a lesser or higher degree, uncredited work. They said in a statement to Time Extension. This was an irresponsible oversight on our end, and we take full accountability for this outcome and not verifying the submitted translation. To amend this, we will set out to reach those whose work was not recognized and offer a means of resolution. So they said that they will delay further re-releases in order to investigate the situation and make sure it doesn't recur. They aren't the only retro-focused company to get in trouble recently. Earlier this month, Limited Run Games apologized for selling cartridges that could damage NES consoles. Just can't escape that.
Okay, so here's my question. First, it's fucked up. I'll just say that right off the bat. I think it's fucked up to use something like this, like a translator. I didn't even think this was a thing, but to use it specifically, not give credit. What is an appropriate, resolution? I don't even know what that means. What kind of resolution can you give these guys? Is it a backed payment? Is it a public, hey, sorry, these are the guys? Do you issue any new games with the proper credits? I don't know what it is, because I'm also kind of thinking, should they have paid them to begin with, or should it have just been hey, guys, we want to use your thing and we'll give you credit in the game? Would that have sufficed enough?
That's a tough question, because I don't know the legality around paying someone for translated language in a copyrighted work. I don't know if you can just pay someone straight up for their translations of something. I don't know the rules there. But at the very least, money talks. So if I was one of these translators and they reached out to me and they said, well, here's a check with some cash, I think that's the best you're going to do. And then as a sign of, a good sign, any future re-releases of these games need to have the translators in the credits, basically. You got to throw that in there. But yeah, a lot of these translators, though, too, you might not even find out who did what either. So that begs the question, Brian, what do you think led to this? Do you think it's laziness? Do you think it's,
You know what I think it is, Jim? I honestly think it's... we don't know the size of this team. We don't know what they did to do this, but honestly, I think it's somebody who just used it and thought, who's going to find out? They probably Googled, what... fuck, I don't know. I think they're just who's going to find out? What's the big deal? And there's probably a lot of that. I think it's a big item of who will really figure this out. I don't think it was malicious. I think it was laziness. I'm just going to put it to that.
Yeah, my theory here is it's the old adage of ask for forgiveness and not for permission. So definitely definitely piggybacking on your laziness thing, I think it's that too, with just going, who's going to realize? Who's going to figure this out? I love how all these companies don't realize that the people who put work into ROMs and translations and updating ROMs and making them work on future consoles are the most hyper-focused people in the goddamn world. And if something comes out like that, they will realize. At the very least, someone in that community will get the game to judge their translations versus this, releases translation and stuff like that for accuracy. So it's you're not going to get away with this crap. But they keep trying.
So it goes back to my question, though. You think it's just money? Do you think it's just... I don't know. And if okay, let's say this is you. What is something that would make you satisfied? If you found this out and you were pissed off, you're what the fuck? Is it just, do you want a quick payment, or do you just want them to to just acknowledge it publicly.
I think credit in a blowjob would be fair.
Damn it, Jim.
What? It's a cheap option. I'm the good guy here. I'm helping them out.
I don't like that, Jim.
Because you can't disagree?
I mean, you know the way to my heart. I'm a simple man, Jim. What can I say?
Simple man, simple desires. And you know what? I'm not the strongest willed man. Just a little of the old, the old happy mouth action, Brian. It solves any problem, really.
All right, Jamer. So we had to do a little transition, a little technical error, but we've talked about a couple indie companies and old retro companies that have been fucking up. But let's talk about a company that, for all intents and purposes, is successful as shit with a crazy good launch, and they still needed to lay off a support dev of their team. We're talking about Marvel Rivals, Jamers. And what's going on with them right now?
So this actually was a bit of a brouhaha because at first it was kind of misreported.
Yeah.
So Marvel Rivals, the original tweet came from February 18th, and it was from Mario 64 saying Marvel Rivals director and team laid off according to Post. And basically, Thaddeus Sasser said, my stellar talented team just helped deliver an incredibly successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games, and we were just laid off. Oh well, times are tough all over. Let's find incredible people new jobs because we all need to eat, right? So then he started talking about the course of the project and all that bullcrap. And then Jack Burrows, who is a level designer for Marvel Rivals and NetEase, says, well, just got laid off from my job working on Marvel Rivals with NetEase. I cannot talk today.
You cannot say Rivals. God damn it.
Marvel Wobbles. Double triple. It's all coming full circle. Laid off from my job working on Marvel Rivals with NetEase. Oh, God. Either I'm flaming or fucking... Can't say it, God, or mushmouth. What an episode for Jimmy.
God.
But it was an enormous pleasure to work with my many American coworkers who joined me in this sad calling. Just couldn't dodge that big boot, I guess, no matter how big. So yeah, all these people had their, things to say about it. But so there is a tweet that we have here from a HM Killer, whoever this is, saying, while this is incredibly sad to see and their contributions to the game are undoubtedly immense, to say it is the game director and his team is inaccurate, as this is a dev support team in Seattle. Regardless, these layoffs in the face of the game's success is BS, and there needs to be better job security in this industry. And yeah, I think I saw from other things that it was like a 6-person team.
I was about to say,
there's other
six
tweets saying the
people
fact
from
that
the
it was a
American
6-person team.
division. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
The
part
fact that it was
that,
6 people makes it more baffling. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes it better or worse, Jim. Like, yeah, that initial tweet you read, what the fuck? The game director and, like, these people were laid off? Like, how is that possible? And I saw a lot of people jump and react to that, and then now that this has been clarified, not saying it's better, but I'm like, okay, it was 6 people. But that's like, is that better or worse? Like, of all 6 fucking people, with the success that Marvel Rivals had, you couldn't keep 6 fucking people on? Like, yeah. That's insane. But then again, I don't know with game development, were these guys, was this dev team literally, was their whole job to help with the launch? Or, were they an active, like, they were going to provide ongoing support? That's the part I don't know. And you and I have heard many crazy stories about the games industry. It's fucking brutal. It is one of the most fluctuating industries, I feel like. I feel like job security is dog shit. And I do think there should be better job security for these folks. I think it sucks. I imagine, I don't know if these guys have to move around as much, but like if you moved and developing this and you're all for it, and then all of a sudden you're just like, they all seem shocked they were laid off. So I think it kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's fucked up. Like, I want to know more specifically about what they did in support of the game. But to hear a successful game needing to lay off 6 people, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know if that's a business model thing, because I can't imagine it's like they needed to save the dollars. So
Yeah, so I did a little quick looky-see right now, and
Okay.
I forget. I think Marvel Rivals is free to play. It's one of those free-to-play games, but there's passes and skins and shit like that you can buy.
yep,
Right.
it is.
Let's do one of our classic little guessy poo games. What do you think the current Steam chart is saying for concurrent players for Marvel Rivals? I can't talk. God. Marvel
Steam chart.
Rivals.
I'm trying to think. I don't know what. Okay, let me just preface this by saying I don't know what a good Steam average player base is, but I'm going to say at least 100,000 people playing.
That's for a very good game. It is playing as of a half hour ago of this recording. 302,000 playing concurrently.
Whew.
With that being the 24-hour peak and an all-time peak of 642,000 players on Steam alone, Brian. Not to mention all the other platforms that it's on.
So, yeah, it's not hurting at all. So we know that, right? Like, and to your point, yes, it is a free-to-play game, but yes, there's plenty of shit you can buy, and I'm sure between it being available, I don't know if it's available only through Game Pass or if it is free. I'm sure there's ways they're getting paid. So something that big, and at the end of the day, you have the Marvel franchise and the label behind it. So I don't know. It's just surprising.
It seems like such nickel and diming too. So, I mean, I think NetEase is a Chinese company, so I don't know what their rules are about foreign contracts and crap like that. But yeah, it's still like, really?
That's the part maybe we're missing here is we're focused on this American company, and it was the 6 people from the American division. So I think people are looking at this as like an American greed thing, but maybe to your point, you can't look at it that way. Maybe this is a normal practice for a company like that. I don't know. I never heard of NetEase before this game, so maybe they've done other stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Right. Speaking of things I've never heard of before, I've never heard of a foreign government saying that a video game could face action for what goes on in its video game. All right, maybe there's been like bans before, but like actual like suing action? Long story short, Assassin's Creed Shadows faces action from Japanese officials for shrine destruction.
But there should be one note on this article from Insider Gamer. You read a little bit, and right away they have an editor's note, and it says, "It's come to our attention that the original publication is an outlet known for producing false and hyperbolic stories. While this story will remain up for transparency purposes, we acknowledge this issue and promise no further coverage of stories reported by the original outlet will be covered at Insider Gaming." So it might have been a little bit of fuckery, is all I'm saying.
Now a report from the Japanese publication Sankai News via Automaton. So yeah, between me putting this on the itinerary and now, I had no idea that this editor's note happened. So, So I guess maybe it isn't actually happening?
But to your point, let's just assume, put aside that. I did see outrage myself on Twitter.
Let's save this segment.
I'm not saying it's justifiable, but it's funny, I've seen a lot of folks on Twitter hating on this game about saying like, "Oh, cool, you're going around murdering innocent Japanese folks and you're fucking up these shrines and yada yada yada."
There's a black guy in Japan. There's no black people there.
Yeah. Here's a dumb thing. I don't know. I've played 3 Assassin's Creed games. I know there's a lot of pretty destructible shit in every game. Do you think any culture, religious site, anything like that in a game should be quote unquote protected? Like, should a hitbox be taken off it to avoid this upsetting people, or should it all be fair game?
All fair game. Fuck it. It's fiction. It's not real. It's a video game.
I agree.
Like, it's not real. No one's actually going to Japan and taking a samurai sword, whatever the fuck. Like, doesn't goddamn matter. And so at least luckily, I guess, the Japanese government isn't actually pressing charges or anything like that. But, did the people on Twitter, were the culture war people going, oh, see, it's over. Woke game over. Trying to go for DEI and it's over. It's like, well, at least I'm glad that might be false.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. If it's not false, and we know rules in Japan are different than rules in America, should Japan be able to sue for that? Like, I don't know if they have explicit, like, hey, if you want to use this, you're not supposed to be able to do that. I don't know.
I mean, it's also like, where do you sue? Like, do you sue Ubisoft in France? Or do you, like, expedite the development team to Japan? Like, I don't know how you actually make that a thing.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. And I also go, like, what would be the equivalent? Like, if you could go fuck up the Liberty Bell more here? Like...
And, like, in a video game, like, okay, who gives a fuck?
I'm trying to think, like, what would the American equivalent be? Like, if you go fuck up the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, maybe people would get pissed off about that.
There has to be a game where you can, like, blow up Mount Rushmore or something like that. Like, there's got to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Yeah, I just don't imagine this game doing very well for a multitude of reasons, but we'll see. But yeah, I had to make sure I got that in there, Chambers, so you didn't go too far down. With that editor's note, I read that and I went,
Thank God, because I didn't read that a week ago. That was not there. So, good job, Bry.
But Chambers, we were talking about the outrage folks have, how it affects them, and I'm definitely going to need some context because I watched this next video, and there's lots of rage in the world right now, and we've covered this specific topic in person before.
Why?
I don't know who the fuck Greg Miller is, but all I've gathered from watching this video and the comments below it, a lot of people aren't a fan of him either, apparently. And I don't know why, so I'm going to need you to explain the normie view this week to me, Chambers.
So, Greg Miller is a voice in the gaming sphere who's been around for a long time. He's part of Kinda Funny, which is, I believe, like a little bit of a media network that's, been going through. I kind of think it's almost one of those, like, Rooster Teeth-ish kind of deals where, where ScrewTack, what ScrewTack originally was back in the day. Just all kinds of stuff revolving around games, making skits, trying to be kind of funny, and having all these different kinds of people there. And Greg Miller's been one of the more, he's a bit of a firebrand, especially on Twitter. And he is a very liberal boy. He makes no qualms about that. So, he was recently at a presenter, I believe, at the DICE Awards, along with this woman named Stella, who I don't know anything about her. Not throwing shade, I just don't know who she is. And yeah, they are on stage and they are about to give out a presentation where it goes, well, Bri, I guess we'd be fine to play this. I don't think this would be too copyrightable, or would it?
I probably wouldn't. I'll have the video playing, but I think.
Oh, you know what? Fuck it. Keep it silent because it is captioned. But for the people out there, I will say it for you verbatim. So they go in there. One of my favorite games, Diablo 4 VS of Age, is nominated for Online Game of the Year. Everyone claps. Get your hands together. It's a game that takes real skill. It does. Not trying to flatter everyone here, but I know one thing about this. None of you had to pay someone to play Diablo 4 for you. And there's mixed reaction to that, Brian. It's not exactly a slam dunk. The crowd out there is not exactly losing their mind over it and going, whoop whoop wooing like an Arcidio Hall. It's like a woohoo, maybe at best.
Yeah.
So edgy.
Lukewarm.
So yeah, they're saying so. It's hard. Hard level of characters when you're dismantling democracy. Once again, lukewarm response. If you get mad at that joke, it's Greg Miller. The girl says Greg, and then he busts in saying MILLER. Fuck Elon Musk and fuck Donald Trump. To a pretty good response from the crowd and the audience. So he is very proud of this clip, Brian. It's got 2.5 million views, about 4,500 likes, and 4,500 comments. Right, that is near ratio territory right there. He's so proud of this that he has even pinned it to his Twitter profile. And yeah, the comments are flooding in on this one. As a checkmark that he is, which I'm surprised someone so liberal would be a checkmark on Elon's Twitter. The engagement that has been formed, I'm sure, turned into a nice $100 payday for him, with lots of people calling it cringe, lots of people dropping slurs, so many slurs, notably ones that begin with the letter F, and tons of Pepe memes, Trump memes, all kinds of stuff like that. And yeah, that was quite the reaction, probably what you would have had to have expected on any social media platform in this day and age for something like that. Right. What's your normie view on this? Do you think that he was completely in his right to do it, taking a stand in the middle of the Game Awards show, saying, just being so brave to talk bad about Donald Trump and Elon Musk to wildly popular people who have no haters? Or do you think he's being a martyr, led out to Frost, Brian? A martyr of his own design. Hoisted by his own petard, we could say.
Well, here's my question. I just need to back up on this guy. I heard everyone's like, yeah, this is the same guy who fucked over his best friend and canceled his best friend. And then I read that he fucked over Colin Moriarty. I feel like I remember that name. Maybe we talked about it before.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago.
So here's the question.
Right. Real quick. Do you know how he fucked him over and turned his back on him?
No idea.
All right, so they were apparently best friends, quote unquote. I don't know if it's just online best friends. Definitely business partners. Ran a podcast together or some kind of show on Kinda Funny. Nothing I ever really followed, but there's a hashtag going around a couple years ago called A Day Without Women. And everyone would make their, tweets about it. Try to have a little fun with it. So Colin Moriarty wrote, peace and quiet at last. One, not wrong. Two, pretty tame and harmless. And Greg just decided to freak the fuck out and go, oh, dude, no good. Big foul. And eventually, a couple days later, Colin was off the show and gone from Kinda Funny.
Yeah, so
everyone basically blamed Greg for it. So,
okay, so that helps clarify that piece of it. Yeah, fairly tame joke, but like you said, this guy is a self-proclaimed liberal. He's very into it. All right, here's the deal. I've said this a gazillion times. Get politics, either of you, out of fucking video games, and especially at a dumbass game award that triply doesn't matter. Sorry if you're someone out there who thinks game awards matter. I don't think they do at all. Your only job is to be up there and just read the card. You're here to do this, and I don't care. At least, you know what? Here's the deal. If you're gonna hate on someone, make it funny. Make it something that's like thoughtful. Just saying fuck someone it's not even a joke. It's literally like there's no effort into it. So I think that's the part that bothers me.
And it's like, yeah, I think it's perfectly fine to have politics in video games. It'll add a lot of layers to stories and blah, 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 blah.
In the game, yes. I'll say that.
But if you're at a fucking video game awards show, like, you already had the burn. You already had the joke. Obviously, it was an obvious joke, but it was fine. Like the Diablo 4 burn and all that shit for being paid. You had it. You had the moment. It's fine. Move on.
Yeah,
but no,
I agree. I thought it was going to end with that, by the way. I was like, oh, okay. Little soft dig.
Right. And you would have gone, okay, yeah, I get that. I get that. So, one, they already started to trample over it by overly explaining it, which is never good. And then, of course, Greg had the fucking, like, that was just like, that was a 2002 Netflix claptivism stand-up special right there. Just condensed into a fucking, 10 seconds. And, I have no love at all for Trump or Elon. And even I see something like that and go, come on, dude. What the
It's
fuck?
so dumb. It's
like,
so dumb.
Like, what are you preaching to the choir there? You're at a thing full of game developers and shit like that. Like, that's probably what the majority of the people are going to be into anyway. Like, you're not doing anything brave. And like,
he literally is
what did you
Ted
think was gonna
Turner
happen?
he's Ted Turner from Family Guy, like a bisexual. Like you can't joke the joke, right? You can't go that far.
What a reference. All right, I'll give you that one. Yeah, he joked the joke and then he trampled on the joke of the joke. Like, no comedic timing, Brian. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like why I don't know, why do people do shit like that? Like did he think like he was going to get a better reaction? Did he think like he's being brave? Like I don't understand the purpose of it.
Like here's the thing. If you did this back during the 2016 regime, okay. Like fine, it's something new, it's something different. But we're in year 9 of this circus. You're not changing anyone's mind with that. No one who doesn't agree isn't going to say yeah, and no one who agrees isn't going to say yeah, and no one who disagrees isn't going to like boo. Like, you know what's going to happen. Like, it serves no purpose. And like, we're flooded day in and day out. The news cycle, constant doom scrolling, people's lives being upended like instantly, left and right. Mm-hmm. Can we just have like an hour of escape with a stupid award show about video games?
Yeah.
Can we just have that?
That's my point is like I hate anything talked about politically at a game award because it's definitely not the place for it. Like if you're going to go out of your way to watch a game award, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at the Oscars. I don't want to see that. Nothing pissed me off more when it's like you're a fucking actor. Yes, you have a big influence, but don't act like what you say means anything. Like you're just pontificating what you heard from some other bullshit, right? Like this ain't the time and place for that. So it's annoying to me. I think it's fucking stupid. I think I would feel just the same way. I hate to say it. The fucking clips we saw from the Real Game Awards, I would have expected that kind of stupid shit from them. Like, fuck this person. And you see from someone like this.
I mean, they made like 5 separate digs at Alyssa Mercanti and shit like that. So it's not like they were completely absolved from doing the same shit. But at least they tried to be a slightly bit more subtle about it than just being like, fuck this guy, right? Am I right?
But
like,
that's my point. I'm saying the bluntness I would have expected from them versus this. So no, I think I think Greg Miller, he's a dork. Like it's a dork move. It's a dumb thing to do and say. You could have left it at just that. I like the initial dig. Oh man, Diablo 4 takes skill. You can't buy someone. Everyone got the joke. We got it. Would have been fine.
At the worst, everyone could go, we get it. Like, and that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But like
literally, that is the equivalent. Like him just starting that was like the equivalent of someone like nowadays still being like, that's what she said. But not saying it, like not even doing it ironically, like doing it seriously. It's like, yes, okay, we got it. And he had to go even further to be like, it's a fucking not joke. Like, he just had to keep it going. And I'm like, ugh.
And then he made it his fucking pinned tweet. It's like, you know, he's like, oh,
he's proud of it.
I'm proud. I'm doing this to own the trolls. It's like, I mean,
you're not owning anything. You didn't do anything. And to your point, like, I don't see much support for it. So, yeah, I think it was a big fucking mistake.
Yeah, where I'm sure like a lot of people on his side were even just like, dude, come on.
Jim, it's almost as big of a mistake as you going down that sled. You knew something bad was going to happen and you scraped your arm.
Look, I couldn't be left out, Bri. I had to do it, all right? I couldn't be the one adult there who didn't do it, so it had to be done.
The real question, Chambers, is
now, were the results good? No.
Did you stick with that same beer or did you switch off to one of the other Sierra Nevadas you had?
Now, when we had the break, I went for another one. I'm keeping it all in there. So, you know what? A perfectly fine, if unexceptional IPA. If you've had an IPA, you've had them all, but it's 7.5%. You have 3 of them, you'll be feeling good. It's fine. If you don't
Not
like
one
IPAs,
you're ever going to go out of your way to try again.
Nah, probably not. If you don't like IPAs, don't drink it because it won't change your mind. But it's fine.
Yeah. I gotta say, these Yinglings, man, it makes me miss them. Goes down way too smooth. Just enough flavor where it has that maltiness that if you've never tried Yingling, I don't know what you're doing. I'm not going to claim it's like the best beer in the world, but I missed them. That's all I can say. It's like sometimes you need to go to Old Faithful. That's what this is. So, yeah, give them a try if you never have.
It's like a kiss from grandma. It's just comforting.
I'll accept that. I was waiting for the Jim turn on that one, but okay.
Hey, sometimes Wholesome Jimmy comes out, all right?
Sometimes. You got a lot of holes, so yeah.
And how? A lot of holes and a lot of fucked up ribs, that's for goddamn sure.
But with that, guys, we want to say thank you all so much for listening and watching. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to hit the notification bell, hit the subscription, give us a like, leave a comment. Maybe you'll be the comment of the week. Be clever with them. We appreciate them. And if you are listening on Podbean, Spotify, or iTunes, make sure you subscribe to us. If you leave us a 5-star rating and you leave us a comment, we'll read it on each and every one of these Power Hour podcasts. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.